This again here is the NT361. Of all functions. This one in particular is Unit 2. It says so on the top. All the units probably under the keyboards if you pick them up. Unit 2 is my current spares unit. The yoke works, the buttons work, these switches work. The throttle quadrant here has problems. Something is wrong with the optical encoders, which I'll get into in a minute, where they only register when they're all the way in or all the way out. They don't register in between, so that's something annoying. I took a couple of the working ones out of here and put them into other units. That's why this is the spares model. We have radios, transponder, navigational equipment, autopilot, carb heat, cow flaps, brakes. Most of this you won't use. They might use these later on if the lesson plan I came up with goes into use and they have to do a cross country or something. Lights, they can really use if they want to. They're not important at this point, or they might be put into a lesson for the proper takeoff, proper flight procedures. Views, that's helpful for landing. When you push on the arrows only, push and hold the arrows to look out the different windows. Don't push the view button because it'll screw you up. The control panel buttons, I don't know what they do. Don't mess with them. Magnetos, not usually something's going to come up unless you're actually doing engine starts and stops. Pause button, very useful. And parking brake, you'll need that one. Alright, coming into the inside, there's 6 screws, 2 on each side and 2 on the top back. And then the cover comes off. Excuse the poor lighting. See if I can tip this up a bit. There we go. This is the inside of the NT361. It's not that complicated, I don't think. Here and here, also on the rudder pedals, are the optical encoders. The way these work is that there are 3 LEDs and 3 light sensors. I believe they're ultraviolet LEDs or infrared, I don't know. They're not visible to the naked eye, the light. And what they do is, in between them is a piece of plastic with black lines on it. And the way it works is that when the light sensors see the light from the LEDs, they count that as a button press. And because there's equally spaced lines on the clear plastic, as you move the slider up and down, it sees light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, and counts that as a button press. For whatever reason, these optical encoders are either out of alignment, or some of the LEDs or sensors have gone bad, so they're only picking up when it's fully in or fully out. So essentially you have all throttle or no throttle, all prop or no prop, all mixture or no mixture. The optical encoder here for the yoke does work. On top of that, here is the main board. The way these work is that they're essentially like second keyboards. You plug this into your computer and then you plug your keyboard into this. And that allows, I'm not sure if it piggybacks off the other keyboard or it just pretends that it is a keyboard. And every button you press on the front and every time you move the slider, it counts that as a button press. And so it's like, it acts like the keyboard in that sense. I'm going to show you how to hook these up real quick. Hang on. Back up. Alright, now that we've flipped it over, you can see the different connections.
Let me see if I can.
Just drop that.
No, that's all right. I want to make it get in a little closer. Okay. All right.
Starting here on the end, these are the different connections. This, J1, universal power. It'll use any kind of wall wart that fits here, as long as it's between. No, it's these wall warts, 2.5 millimeter diameter pin, and it uses any wall wart that's between 8.5 volts and 12 volts. I have mostly I have a couple of 9 volts and 12 volt wall warts to power these. Next is the host PC. I have no idea why, but these are using a very old keyboard standard. This is the keyboard plug from the early 80s, and from what I understand, these units came out in the late 90s. But they make an adapter that plugs into here. I had to cut off a piece of it because normally it came up a bit further. But you had to I had to shave this down so it would fit in here. And from that, you take a keyboard extension cable and run that into the back of your computer. Also, this again is the older style. It's not USB because these are fairly old now. So that was J3. I skipped over J2. J2 is your regular keyboard. So as I said before, this unit gets plugged into your computer, and then you plug your keyboard into this. That goes to J2. J1 is power. J2 is the regular keyboard. J3 is this to your computer using the keyboard slot. J4, the instructor pendant, we don't have any. It's not important. I spoke to the manufacturers of these units. They said it was something special for certain applications, but we've never had any. I don't think the people who had these before had us. It was a very special purpose that I didn't think got used very much. J5. It says modem pin. What this actually is you need a serial null modem cable. And it's important. It has to be a null modem cable. Anyway, male, female ends, so one each. So you have to have a computer with a serial port. So again, it's a bit of an older computer, or you might be able to get it on an expansion card. But all of our computers here have it, except the one with the SATEC yoke, because that's the newest computer we have. This end goes here, and the other end goes into your computer. J6 is the port for the rudder pedals. We have 2 of the NT Systems rudder pedals, and those are on units 3 and 4. This takes a standard 25-pin joystick port, and they're easy enough cables to get, but if you wanted to try and manufacture a set of rudder pedals based on the ones we have, or if you got more of the SATEC rudder pedals, in order to use the brakes with these units, you would have to take one of those cables and splice it together with a pair of micro switches and attach those to the rudder pedals, because it has definite buttons for the rudder pedals, whereas the SATEC does not. The SATEC uses a resistor axis to make for the brakes. This one doesn't. So if you want to use this with a set of SATEC brakes, you can use it for the rudders, but you'll have to manufacture a set of brake buttons to go with here. And on some of the units, there are an Allen wrench that would normally go in here. Some of the units have it, not this one. But if you look in the back, there's several will have an Allen wrench. I don't know what the specific size is, but this is to take the yoke arms on and off. It's this Allen wrench. You can probably find it. I believe it's a standard size. I believe it's a standard size. All right. Stop.
Hold it. Go.
Okay. Because Unit 2, I said, is spares and it's not currently in use, I keep it here tucked in behind the Frasca. So that's where it is if you're going looking for it. I keep a couple, there's a spare monitor and keyboard over here, as well as on that table right now. I don't know where they'll end up in the future. Stop.